Welcome to the On List. This is a viewer request video I'm doing on the house of Roja Dove, aka Roja Parfums, right? Like Tom Ford, this is a house I don't own anything from. And also like Tom Ford, this is a house I have mixed feelings on, mostly negative feelings, but not all bad. So I understand that also like Tom Ford, Roja Dove is very popular with the online fragrance community. So me stating a disapproving opinion of the brand as a whole is likely going to get a lot of the really freaky, super hardcore, like Roja Dove nerds coming out of the woodwork to bash me and build straw men and set them on fire, like the whole Wicker Man thing. They're gonna make dartboards and put my face on it and slag me through the mud and make 15 million Reddit threads about how I'm a terrible person and all this other stuff because I don't like their favorite brand. And you know what? It's fine. Like I said, your basement is yours. You can stay in your basement. It's fine. I don't need to be in there with you. So, but I think most reasonable people who watch a video from someone giving a negative opinion about something they like, if they're reasonable, they're going to be like, yeah, okay, that's fair. He doesn't like it. It's my favorite thing, but I understand why he doesn't like it. No harm, no foul. We're not enemies. I'm not swearing a blood oath of revenge, in my family's honor or any other weird stuff like that. You guys know I'm a big fan of certain houses, like obviously my massive Avon collection that I have. Aside from my normal perfume collection, I have a whole Avon collection separate from that. People can take big steaming dumps all over Avon, and I'm still going to love my Avon anyway. I don't care. I'm a big boy, right? So you decide you don't like something that I do like, and you're very vocal about how much you dislike it. It's a perfume brand. It's not my mother. It's not my brother. No honor for me to defend, okay? It's just a brand. It's just something I like. So that said, going forward, if you are a huge fan of Roja Dove, the brand, not the person, if you're a huge fan of Roja Dove, Roja Parfums, and you think me talking badly about the brand or being vocal about what I don't like about them, if that's going to really upset you or traumatize you in any serious way, then just don't watch this video, please. This is your warning shot now to get out while the getting's good, because it's not going to get better from here. It's only going to get worse. So, and with that said, the person behind the brand, his real name, as far as I know, is still legally Roger Bird, unless he had it changed to Roja Dove, which the whole Roja Dove, Roger Bird, it's a euphemism anyway. It's a stage name, So that person, though, and I don't have a fact sheet in front of me. I don't have a book. So I'm just going off of what I've read not so recently. So if I'm wrong about anything, factually speaking, I don't mind being corrected. But from what I know, he seems like an all right guy. Yeah, he's got a sort of idiosyncratic way about him, but then again, so do I, right? We're all in glass houses here, okay? We can't throw stones. So he has some silly things with him. I have some silly things with me. The way he dresses, his shirts are very affected, very ostentatious. He's always given me a bit of a Liberace vibe. Now, you young cats probably don't know who Liberace is. That's understandable. You Gen Z guys with the broccoli haircuts, all you know is TikTok anyway, and Riz and Phantom Tax. You don't know nothing about Liberace. It's all right. But crack open an old dusty book, read about him, or maybe go on Wikipedia and learn a thing or two. But Liberace had a certain style about him with the way he dressed and the sequins and the velvet and all the paisleys and everything. Very affected, again, a very ostentatious look. And when I see the smoking jackets and the blouses and the puffy meatloaf style poet shirts that Roger Bird or Roja Dove wears. It just reminds me of Liberace, and that's not a bad thing because I like Liberace. He was a fantastic entertainer, fantastic piano player, very talented. Okay, he could set the keys on fire. Actually, he was so good. So, but that's what I'm reminded of. Um, to a lesser extent, Elvis Presley, later era Elvis, not early Elvis, but when he got all fancy with the jackets too and everything, and the capes and everything, same kind of vibe. That's the kind of vibe I get from him. Is that sort of ostentatious showman sort of vibe, and that's fine. It's something that you don't forget, right? And you combine that with his personality, and he's got a very friendly, very open, sort of candid personality. So I have nothing bad at all to say about the man behind the brand. It's the same, it's actually almost the same opinion I have with Tom Ford. I like Tom Ford. I think he's got a cool personality. He's got a cool perspective. He's got cool opinions. He's done some good stuff with film and music production and such. So Tom Ford is a person. We could sit probably in a room and talk and have a good conversation and it'd be fine. Same thing with Roja Dove, aka Roger Bird. I could sit in a room with him. We could talk, share our tastes in perfume and opinions and such, and it'd be great. It'd be a good time. So I don't have a problem with him. And I understand the business decisions he's made for his brand. In the same way I can kind of understand why Tom Ford does what he does. I don't like it, don't approve of it, never bought into it. But as diplomatic as I can be here, okay, I am really full United Nations diplomacy. I've got all the diplomats and all the ambassadors out, and we're fact checking, and we're nodding, and we're pinkies out, and we're being as diplomatic as we can be. But that said, never really found much love for the brand's market placement, the brand's pricing. Obviously, the Roja Dove brand has been one of the forefront brands for what we now call the luxury tier, which is that tier that's above niche. I mean, you had designers who were kind of middle, upper middle, and then designers have their prestige or exclusive ranges like Dior Privé and such. And then proper niche brands, which are independent perfume makers that can range in price a little bit, high and low. And then above niche, you get that special exclusive 1%er, tech bro, Wall Street investor, is either a millionaire or going to be a millionaire very soon. That class of person buys into that luxury brand where it's all about the price is the point. That's kind of a joke. The price point is the point. It's designed from the ground up to be expensive because that's the thing. You pay a lot of money for it, so you can say you paid a lot of money for it. Anyone who's studied economics at all, right, knows who Thorsten Veblen is. Thorsten Veblen was over a century ago, but Veblen goods, he coined that term. He also coined the term conspicuous consumption. He coined that term too, which obviously means to spend a lot of money and spend a lot of money in a way that everyone sees you spending it. So they know that you've got power. They know that you've got sway. You're flexing, like all the kids say. You're flexing. So that's the point of conspicuous consumption. That's the point. And brands like Roja Parfums and also other similar brands like Spirit of Dubai, which is obviously from Dubai, okay, right? And then Henry Jacques is another one. That one leans more towards naturals and such, though. Royal Crown is another one. And these are brands that from the ground up are expensive and exclusive. Clive Christian's another one. Okay. I will note that it would seem that most of these luxury brands do for some reason come out of the UK. And I don't want to diss on all of my UK friends and diss on all of my British viewers and such. But I feel like the UK, at least from an outsider's perspective, I'm a Yank. I know you're gonna run me through the mud. You're gonna trounce me. You're gonna beat me up because I'm talking shit about you. But again, I'm not saying this from a place of ignorance. I'm saying this from a place of genuine curiosity. Okay, genuine curiosity. It seems to me like for some reason the British still have this like strong obsession with social class. You know, I mean, America's got social class too. Obviously, we've got rich people and poor people and all that stuff. But I feel like our social class is more de facto, as in it's there, but it's not stated. It's just there. But with like the UK, they like to rub it in. They like to label it, organize it, and state it, and then rub it in. So they have this thing where where a lot of things are designed to be, if you can buy this, if you can afford this, if you can sport this, you're showing that you are above someone else, right? You are showing your lessers. You are showing the small folk that you're highborn, right? Maybe that stems back to when they had, you know, barons and queens and dukes and all that stuff, because obviously a lot of Europe going back centuries had aristocracy, had blue bloods, kings, the Habsburgs, okay, all that stuff. So this is just world history, and history is history. But I feel like in a modern sense, within the last 20, 30 years, all of these really high-end, super, ultra luxury status, brass plates, gemstones on the caps, etched labels, relief bottles, crystal bottles, all this really fancy stuff. A lot of these houses are coming from the UK. That's my point. They're coming from the UK. They're not coming from France as much. They're not coming from America. They're not coming from Asia so much. And it's like the UK and in the Middle East. Obviously, a lot of these brands also exist in the Middle East because Spirit of Dubai is a very, very expensive brand. And there's a handful of others. Amouage has their super high-end stuff too, right? They're super limited bottles. So, but it seems like the two biggest culprits for the social class expressed through the perfume, specifically, very specifically, the perfume. The social class, I'm your better, you're my lesser, you're small folk, I'm highborn. That is really, in regards to the fragrance market, it seems like it's locked horns between the UK and the Middle East, the two brands that do that the most. And as an outsider and not understanding why exactly, I'm asking the audience at this point to tell me why that is. Why is it that all these super luxury status flexy kind of brands seem to be coming out of the UK or the Middle East? Fragrance du Bois is another one. They come out of the UK even though they have a French name. You know, it's like, what is it? So the only like real big like status flex brand I can think of that comes from the United States is Bond Number 9, but they don't really, the bottles don't really reflect it. They're expensive, but you don't get the ornamentation, is what I'm saying. You know, but the UK definitely gives you the ornamentation. They give you the wood boxes, they give you the velvet liners, they give you the brass plates, they give you the Swarovski crystals or the rhinestones on the caps. They give you the etched crystal bottles and all that stuff, right? And the gilded everything, the leather bound everything, rich mahogany, like Ron Burgundy says. Like that's, the UK really doubles down on that, and so does the Middle East. Again, Middle Eastern brands double down on that too. And this relates to Roja Dove, so we're gonna go back. We're gonna get back on point, but this relates to Roja Dove. It seems like Roja Dove is the forefront of that. Before Roja Parfums came around, you didn't see that so much. Creed didn't spend tons of money on their bottles. Clearly they didn't. Cheap plastic cap, like I showed you before, and bottle wrappers that have bubbles in them that aren't even put on correctly. So you definitely can't say Creed started the luxury bottle thing. And of course, Amouage is a bit older than Roja Dove, so you could argue that Amouage kind of did it first. But again, just amongst the more popular brands, amongst what trends in the mainstream, Roja Dove really kind of put that sort of bottle style on the map. And Parfums de Marly a little bit, but their bottles never really seemed expensive to me. Yeah, they had a big heavy brass cap on them and the little relief bottle, but the bottle itself didn't feel like it was crystal, didn't feel like it was all that expensive to make. You know, it's just a typical bottle, just with some Marley horses on it, right, and a little crest or whatever. Again, like Creed, copying Creed. So, love it or hate it, you got to give props. You got to give respect where respect is due. And Roja Dove put that brass plate, etched, heavy, adorned, crystal cap sort of thing, that whole make the bottle look luxurious and expensive, that was Roja Dove. That was, honestly, that was him. You know, I don't know if that was his original idea or if that was marketing people that worked for him, but his brand was kind of the brand who may not have done it first. I am not claiming they did it first, but they were the brand who put it on the map. Okay? It's never about who does something first. You guys always get it twisted. It's never about who does it first. It's about who gets noticed doing it. It's about who, who really grabs the attention of the buying public with it. Because we can talk about all kinds of things that were did first. You know, who that did the first automated windshield wipers on the car, who invented the first recordable audio tapes, who did the whatever first. And there's always some runner-up guy who technically did it first, but then had his stuff taken by someone else. Like the whole Alexander Graham Bell didn't really invent the telephone, someone else did, but he stole his idea. The patent clerk gave him the idea, so he became accredited for the telephone. It's just like that. It's never who does it first. It's who does it in the way that grabs the attention of the buying public. And that's where I give credit for the Roja Dove, Roja Parfums thing with the big, heavy brass bottles. Now, I know it seems like I have spent so much time already just talking about the guy and his bottles. There's a reason for that. And you guys are not going to like the reason. The perfumes are secondary. And I personally, my opinion, hot take, wasn't in my hot take video, but it's a hot take pertaining to this brand. I have always felt that the fragrances were secondary to the marketing, to the bottles, to the allure and appeal of expensive, of luxury, of flexing your status, again, of throwing these bottles up on camera, throwing them on Instagram, throwing them on TikTok, putting them on your YouTube channels, you know, that whole thing. Because a lot of the people, and this is not everyone, because again, I have friends who love this brand. I have friends who spend the money to buy every single thing that Roja Dove has ever made. I've got friends out there who own every version of Nua he's made, which is really hard to do because they're really expensive. Friends who've got like multiple bottles of Diaghilev and multiple bottles of the different ouds he's put out and all the Gulf exclusive ones, the Kingdom exclusives. So I have friends who spend bank on this brand. So I don't want to insult anyone, but I find that there are a lot of people who would not wear the perfume that's in the bottle if someone else made it, because the perfume is secondary to the brand, you know, and that's a big no-no for me personally. And a lot of the perfumes are very traditional, classic French designs, and the reason for this is Roger Bird used to work at Guerlain. So there we are again, Guerlain, right? Not Guerlain, Guerlain. So he used to work for Guerlain, and he was in the marketing side. He was in the PR side. The story that he spins is that Jean-Paul Guerlain began to train him in making perfume because he was interested in learning how to make perfume. So the story is that Jean-Paul Guerlain gave him some unofficial lessons on the side taught him how to use a perfume organ, blah, 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 blah. And that may be true. I can neither prove nor disprove that. I wasn't there. I don't know. Maybe the guy can compose. He has gotten a few credits on perfumes released by other houses. So I can't fully dispute whether he has composed fragrances or not. He gets a credit for the 2010 restoration recreation of Fougere Royale, which apparently Roja partnered with Rodrigo Flores Rue, who's a very good perfumer. The two of them worked on that together. I'm not going to question that. Also, Pure Distance, the original version of M, which got discontinued sadly, but Pure Distance M was supposedly one of Roja compositions. It very well might be. Again, I don't know, not questioning it. Never smelled it, can't tell you. I've smelled Fetish, which is supposed to be its close related cousin. Fetish is supposed to be very close to M. I've smelled Fetish, and Fetish is really good. And that's just kind of how it goes. There are really good fragrances in this house, but a lot of them are very derivative of classic French fragrances. Very derivative of Guerlain, very derivative of Caron, very derivative of Houbigant. A lot of these classic French houses. In some cases, you can tell where maybe a little bit of Lanvin was pinched, a little bit of Belmont was pinched, a little bit of what else from that time period? Some Lilongs may have been pinched. You can tell where, and that's the era, the general era, and the general style that the man himself, Roger Bird, Roger Dove, whichever, he loves that early to mid 20th century style of fragrances. And then he loves some stuff from the 70s and 80s. I mean, Bellamy was a big inspiration for Fetish, and there again, that's it. Hermes, another old brand. These old French brands, saying it twice, seem to be the apple of his eye. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I've smelled a couple of them. I've smelled Scandal, I've smelled Danger. And I've smelled some of the ouds. And even the oud fragrances that I've smelled. Like just one called oud. I feel like even the ouds are run through the filter, if you want to call it that, or kaleidoscope, or whatever, a prism. Even the ouds are run through a prism of classic French. So when he does an oud, he does it in a way that still feels classic French. So it's almost like when you smell Roja Dove oud, just straight up oud, the original oud perfume. It kind of feels like, what if Guerlain made an oud in 1925? 1930. What if we had an alternate timeline and Jacques Guerlain, way back in the day, before World War II broke out, what if Jacques Guerlain decided to get some oud from somewhere and make a Guerlainade style oud fragrance, right? Make a Vol de Oud, right? Or an Oudemar or a Mitsud Oudco, whatever. You get my point, right? Do a classic Guerlain style fragrance with oud. That's what these Roja Dove ouds feel like to me. And again, that's cool. It's the love letter. It's the whole idea of the brand is kind of a love letter to this style, this era. None of that is wrong to me, you know. And I've smelled the Parfum colognes too. But my big reason for doing this, for a lot of them, for thumbs down, sometimes angrily thumbs down, is qualitatively they're not different from the things that they're inspired by. So I smell the Scandal, I smell the Danger, and I'm like, okay, Abbey Rouge, okay, Heritage, okay, you know, classic French men's fragrances that are still for sale, that are still like $100 or $150 at most, okay, and he wants what, $800 goddamn dollars, and the Parfum colognes are $3, so they're double. So, and they're weaker versions of the things that they're basically inspired by. So why on earth, you know, all the gods, past, present, and future, and I'm bringing in the Aesir, I'm bringing in the Egyptian gods, I'm bringing in all the ones from India too. I'm bringing in all the gods, all the pantheons come together here. The Greek gods, the Roman gods, which are the same thing under different names. Let's bring all the gods together. Why, under the purview of all of these deified forms, would anyone in their right mind, not afflicted with some kind of madness or lunacy, why would someone choose to spend $300 for a fragrance that smells almost just like another fragrance that is half the price, at least, and also weaker? So you're getting a weaker version of this fragrance. And normally I'm not a performance guy, okay? I'm not a performance guy, but we are doing this objective comparison because we have to. You're asking me to do this, so that I'm doing this. Rationally, you're going to spend $300 for a fragrance that smells just like this fragrance and has weaker performance, and pay double, at least double for it. So that's like someone giving you a watered down version of Abbey Rouge or a watered down version of Heritage, and then asking double the price for the currently available Heritage. And you might say, oh, but he uses more expensive materials. Oh, it's not meant to be stronger because natural materials. And you can do all the mental gymnastics you want. Okay, you can tie your brain into pretzel knots. Okay, you can do Snyder's pretzels with your brain if you want to. I don't care. Turn it to a Gordian knot, whatever floats your boat. But just why would you do that? Unless you want the pride of ownership to flex. Once again, we circle back. You want to be able to say, I've got the Roja Dove hookup. I've got that RDO. I've got that Riz. I've got that Phantom Tax, whatever. I don't know. I don't use these terms normally. Skibbity Roja, whatever, okay? Broccoli haircuts and everything, and the TikToks and all that, okay? Why? The Guerlains are still out there. And then every Roja fragrance I've smelled, it's the same story. Diaghilev, okay? Not exactly the same as Mitsoko. It's not one for one. It's not one for one. None of them are clones, okay? None of them are clones. It's not one for one. And it's a little denser and a little more opaque. Mitsoko is a little more watercolor, a little more transparent, a little more fruity. The Diaghilev is not as fruity. It's a little denser, a little heavier. But it's like $800. And you can get Mitsoko for like $120 all day. And that's not discounted. That's like retail prices. Why? Again, I don't understand. And this is why I say the person who buys that Diaghilev would never buy that perfume if it was put in a different bottle by a different brand and cost a different price. If you could take the exact formula of Diaghilev, clone it completely, shove it in an Armaf bottle, call it Club de Nuit Dia or something, I don't know. Club de Nuit Glaive, I don't know. You think of something here. And then charge $30 for it. That shit will sit there. Sit there and sit there and sit there. All day, every day, and it will not move. And these are fragrance styles that these people wouldn't want to wear, wouldn't want to smell like, wouldn't want on their skin, if not for the fact that they could be like, yeah, it's that Roja Dove. I got that Roja Dove on. I got that good, or whatever. And that's where we are. And that whole vibe, I do not like. And that's why I say, with all due respect to the man, he seems cool. He's very knowledgeable. He's very helpful. And I even hear that he works like a sales employee. If you go into Harrods in London, and you go up to the top floor where they have the perfume section, he has his own little perfume store within a store, right? And he sells his brands, and he sells other brands too, not just his. He sells everything. And if he's there that day, you can literally talk to him like you would any salesperson anywhere else, and he would recommend you a fragrance. Sometimes he hangs out at his Burlington Arcade boutique. He's got one of those there in Burlington Arcade. He hangs out there too. So wherever he happens to be, if he's there, you can literally get recommendations, and he'll sell you another fragrance from another house. He'll sit there and say, yeah, you should check out Le Du Temps by Nina Ricci. It's classic. Oh, yeah, you should check out this Houbigant over here. It's really good. Oh, yeah, this classic Chanel is one of my favorites. I love this old Dior. Check this Dior out. He will do that all day. So I can't do anything but respect the man. But bro, your perfumes they smell good, but the whole idea of conspicuous consumption and buy them because they're expensive and they're exclusive and that makes you feel special and all that like weird socio-economic like ass pats of oh there Mr. Rich Man, oh you need to feel good about being rich, here buy this expensive perfume, make you feel better. That must be a lovely problem to have, because I don't have that problem as someone who's been poor most of my life and I'm now just barely breaking middle. I'm just breaking middle at 43, so I guess I'm middle class now. It just doesn't seem like a vibe I want. And that's why even when those fragrances go to discounters, and they've gone to FragranceNet, they've gone to Fragrance X. You can get bottles of the Parfum colognes for $150. You can get that $800 bottle of Diaghilev for like $253. Still expensive though. It's like, okay, it's more than half off, but it still costs the same price as Amouage. I could buy an Amouage at retail price for cheaper than I could buy a discounted bottle of Great Britain or something. So that's my point too, is just, it's ridiculous. I know who the product's for, and it's not for me. And I am just shocked at all of y'all out there who love the brand so much, because it's really not for you either. It's really not for you. But that's a discussion for another time, obviously. But there it is. That's my opinion on this house, my opinion on this brand. I feel like it's just a lot of, it's a lot of hubris and a lot of blowing smoke up, people's backside. And the fragrances themselves in isolation, separate from the branding, separate from the marketing, are pretty good. I like the vetiver fragrance, is really nice, okay? But just the total package, I don't vibe with it. It's not for me, man. That's my official opinion on Roja Dove. Take it or leave it. This has been The Unlist. Catch you later.